This episode is brought to you by Nature's Bounty. Nature's Bounty believes your body is brilliant, naturally designed to thrive, inside and out. For those always looking for new ways to support your health from head to heels, Nature's Bounty has a range of over 400 vitamins and supplements born from 50 years of trust and care. Nature's Bounty. It's in your nature. Visit naturesbounty.com to learn more.
With new, gentler scented Clorox disinfecting wipes, clean finally smells as good as it feels. On everything from lamps to ceiling fans. Even on your kid's toy shark. Oh, ouch. Clorox disinfecting wipes. Now available in crisp lemon. Find it on Amazon. Clorox. Clean feels good.
Hi, I'm here to pick up my son Milo.
There's no Milo here. Who picked up my son from school?
Streaming only on Peacock.
I'm gonna need the name of everyone that could have a connection.
You don't understand. It was just the five of us.
So this was all planned.
What are you gonna do? I will do whatever it takes to get my son back.
I honestly didn't see this coming. These nice people killing each other.
All Her Fault. A new series streaming now only on Peacock.
Hello everyone, I'm Chris Wynn and welcome to How Are the podcast, and I hope you listened into yesterday's pod because we had part one of our Football Room 101, which saw Andrew go up against Jonny to see who could rid football of their pet hate by persuading me to place them in Room 101 to banish them forever. So we started off in part one with Andrew being able to banish state ownership of football clubs over Jonny's need to banish the domestic game being hosted abroad. And it was a close run thing. They were both really good, heavy hitting topics, and you will see that they get more ridiculous as we go on. So we need to introduce our guests again, trying to make football all the better. And first up, we have Andrew Smithson. Hello, Andrew.
Hello, mate. Now that we've banned foreign ownership and foreign involvement, I'll have to be quick because I've got to find some host venues for the next couple of World Cups. So make it snappy, please.
Yeah, did you enjoy getting that one in the bag, did you?
Listen, I fully agreed with what Jonny had to say, but yeah, it's just something that football could do without for me, that one.
Yeah, I completely agreed. And like I said, unfortunately for Jonny, I just didn't care enough about us playing the odd game abroad, as long as it's not a cup final. But I did make that caveat. But of course, next up, we do have Jonny Hawley. Hello, Jonny.
Hello. Andrew, you're going to be pretty busy, but what you can do is you can repurpose all of the corrupt World Cup stadiums for all of our, 39th games abroad and that Chris wants us to host everywhere. So perfect solution.
This is just all falling into place. This is fantastic.
It's like we're professionals, eh? This is class.
I'll tell you what, you couldn't have picked two, bigger hitting ones to start off with. I was kind of and an ahhing either way when you were both talking. You both put good arguments up, to be fair to you. But Jonny, you need to pull one back, mate.
Don't you worry. I've got two of the most inconsequential, ridiculous points to go at now, and I'm going to go at them with as much bombast and aplomb as I did the actual serious ones. So get yourself ready, Andrew. You're going down.
Oh, fight and talk already. As long as we're not talking pink custard and skilled in a meringue, I'm perfectly happy with whatever. But let's get straight into it. This is round two, of course, Andrew being one up from the first round. And we're going to start with you, Jonny, because you need to pull one back. And we need your pick for round two.
So my pick for round two is teams playing games in the wrong kits. And by wrong kits, what I mean is the home colours would have worked, but they've played in the away kit for no reason. Or the away colours would have worked, and the worst case is they play in the third kit for no reason, just so they can sell a few shirts. Get it bloody gone, man.
Right. Well, it's funny because I want to bring Andrew straight in on this, actually, because Andrew, you wrote the book on Sunderland kits. And I'm just wondering straight away, because you were nodding along. You're supposed to be like poking holes in him and, saying, no, he's talking rubbish. But you were nodding away to him.
People in glass houses, I would never accuse anyone of talking rubbish on these because it would come straight back at me. I mean, Johnny, without even realising it, uses the term away kits. They're not away kits. They should be change kits.
Change strips, yeah.
I've said that for years, but every single club markets them as an away kit because, yeah, they're going to wear them whether they're needed or not, because the more times they get worn, the more photos there are, the easier it is to sell units.
Why aren't they? Why is away kit wrong? Because you would never wear them at home.
Because you wear them in need of a change, not just because you're away from home.
But you never change them at home.
Yeah, but you don't always need to change it away, which circles back to my incredible frustration here. And the first thing that came to my head was the Everton game the other week. Everton played in all black, right? Are you telling me that a full bright blue kit clashes with red and white stripes? How pull the other one, man. It's got bells on it. You know, it's ridiculous. If I'm a Sunderland fan, I want to see Sunderland play in red and white because that's our colours. Think about all the iconic, legendary moments in the club's history, right? Now, there are a few that are in change strips, away kits, whatever you want to call them. But, like, the most iconic things when you're thinking of, Defoe's volley against the Mags, you're thinking of the 73 Cup final, you're thinking of, all these different things. Ballard's header against Coventry, all these kind of things. You're thinking of the red and white stripes. You're thinking of Sunderland. It's our colours. That's us. No, you've got to go and play in some horrible, vomit green kit in 2016 when you're at Villa Park or whatever. Away and shite, man.
Okay, I'll put it to you though, Johnny. I'll put an argument to you that when you produce such a beautiful kit as our current blue one is, don't you not want to see it out a few times in the season?
Well, I am Achilles and this is my heel. Because the last couple of seasons, I actually do want to see all the kits, as much as I can see them all. But that I'm fully capable of accepting that is total cognitive dissonance for me. That's just me being suckered in by Hummel's genius marketing tactics, And you are right, our kits are belters at the minute. But even having said that, I think, didn't it take us until something daft like Old Trafford before we even wore the actual away kit and we kept wearing the third kit in away games? We wore the all black at Burnley and stuff.
Yeah.
Why are we seeing a third kit more than we're seeing an away kit? Like, what are we doing here, lads? Come on.
Well, the other thing is actually, because it's been and Andrew might come into this being, from the history side of it, but actually it always annoyed me when we played Newcastle. Obviously the game's coming up, when one of the sides changed to an away strip.
Yeah, I don't like it because, again, it's like Johnny says, Sunderland are red and white, Newcastle are black and white. So you want to see red and white against black and white. I do love some away kits, and like Johnny says, I think our change strip is absolutely beautiful this season. But part of the enjoyment should be that you only get to see it on rare occasions. For me, Sunderland and red and white go together hand in hand for me, and I'm realising the more I speak, the more I'm backing up Johnny. So I'll leave it. I'll leave it at there. Well, a ridiculous suggestion, Johnny. You're talking rubbish.
But just to tap on quickly on the last thing Andrew said about it's good because it's rare. What used to fascinate me when I was younger, every so often, not even once a season, you'd have a shorts and socks clash. So the home team would turn up and we'd be in randomly white shorts and socks or red shorts and socks. Oh, I love that.
Wasn't there Martin mentioned one the other week, Andrew, on this week. I'm sure Sunderland played away to Bristol City or something, and we ended up having to wear Bristol City's away strip.
We wore salmon pink at Grimsby Town, and I think it was 1992. I also seem to think we wore Blackburn's yellow strip at Ewood Park, but like with our shorts, maybe something like that.
Yeah.
And it's a quirk. It's Aye.
There was odd occasions when I was young as well that Sunderland changed to white shorts.
Yeah. I think we did that in about 2015-ish, maybe even for the derby, because for some reason, I've got a memory of Stephen Fletcher in white shorts, and just it looked. I'm contradicting myself, but that looked really wrong. That didn't work. But yes, something about that. It's a little addendum to my point. Is I love it. I love seeing it.
Well, the other thing as well is going, because these are really sought after. You're talking about the rare occasions, Johnny, and there was a couple of occasions, Andrew, in the early 90s where for literally one game we wore like a yellow strip. And those are really sought after now. People will spend quite a bit of money on those now.
Oh, they are sought after, and my favourite Sunderland shirt probably wouldn't be a red and white one. I love when Sunderland are in yellow or blue. I just don't think I don't think it needs to be every time we're on the road. Listen, I get it. The club need to sell strips and fans want to spend money on the club, and it's mint when you see somebody walking along and they've got the blue change top or whatever. Just, I think what am I doing?
I was just about to say you're really backing him up there.
I'm employing psychological warfare by every time Andrew says something I agree with. I'm like, yeah, Andrew, that was brilliant. That mate, totally agree.
But Johnny, he did throw a little elbow at the beginning of that when he said his favourite strip wasn't a red and white strip.
As I said, that is my Achilles heel for this one, because I can't pretend I don't love some away kits. And actually, like, even as sort of like a teenager and getting a little bit older, like, you know, I'm not buying a Sunderland top every season, but I was buying more away tops than I was home tops as well. But that's, I would just stress that is because, a bit like Andrew says, it's because of the rarity of wearing the away top and the rarity of having good away tops until the last couple of years. It'd be like, well, we've had loads of red and white tops. I've got 3 or 4 of them in the wardrobe. Ooh, I want that nice blue one. Ooh, I want that nice, that nice black one or whatever.
So you're saying, let's say Sunderland have, gone to Hummel and we said, look, we want to do this deal with you again. Everybody loves Hummel at Sunderland. Let's do this. Okay, right. Well, we'll do, how many strips do you want? We'll want 3 strips, of course, right? Surely in that contract, Johnny, that it will say, right, well, you'll need to wear the black one, let's say twice, 3 times, whatever. And you need to wear the blue one X amount of times. And obviously the home one will be, 19 home games. So you're going, these deals, these strips have to be on show so many times. Now, let's say you just went, right, Sunderland have to play in red and white whenever there's no clash. And let's say we wore the blue strip twice. I mean, is that enough from a point of view that the club want to sell strips and they want to make it iconic if we get the results and play well in them? And actually, we're all wearing them. You go to away games and predominantly you look in the crowd and there's a lot of red and white, but actually a lot of people stick on the blue strips and things like that. And if we're playing in them, it looks the part. So, I mean, would you just go against that and say, no, I don't care, even if they play once or twice in blue, once in black, rest of the time red and white?
That's how I'd have it if I was sort of God, King, Emperor of football, and I had the power to enforce this. But I do completely take your point that obviously in the deals there will be these stipulations of minimum number of games for each strip. But what I would say is, as a little counterpoint, is the third kit that always sticks out in my mind the most from the last sort of 10, 15 years is the one-off one that we wore at Selhurst Park on the Monday Night Football when Anthony Reviere had an absolute stormer. Weird things that stick out about certain games, innit? I think that was 14-15 season. It was certainly around then.
Johnny, that was not weird. You threw in a French name because you knew Chris Lake's hearing you speak French.
He's on to his shit.
What can I say? I'm weak.
Yeah, Anthony Reviere. But no, like, that sticks out in your mind a bit. And part of the reason is because you couldn't buy it. We turned up and all of a sudden it was, Sunderland's playing and that genuinely was just a change strip, rock up on the day, we've got to play in a change strip. And basically all it was an Adidas template top, really, with a Sunderland badge and a sponsor stuck on. But that little bit of mystique about it just did make you go, oh, actually, that is quite a nice top, that. Oh, I wouldn't mind buying it if I could. Oh, you can't even buy it. Ooh, I like a bit of that. And you don't get so much of that in football these days, do you? Because everything's obviously hyper visible. And, Harku's talking, the lads who go on podcast 9,000 hours of their daily waking lives, you know what I mean? To join in the endless coverage. But part of that is that everything's under the microscope 24/7. I would like a little bit of that old traditional styling, something. And the kits feel like a little bit of a path of least resistance, maybe, to sneak me foot in that door.
Yeah. And by the way, it's not weird that you remembered that. I went to the supermarket the other day and completely forgot everything the missus told me to buy. Yet on a pod the other day, I remembered that it was Don Goodman who crocked Tony Norman in 1989. Absolutely ridiculous, isn't it?
Yeah, so sometimes I forget that this is like my safe space, you know what I mean? This is where I'm with like-minded people who haven't got a clue what they need to do the rest of that day. But they can tell you exactly what happened on like 3 o'clock on a Saturday 13 years ago. Yeah. Beautiful.
30, what was it? 35 years ago or whatever. I remember, something, a tackle on our goalkeeper, but I couldn't remember what the missus told me 2 minutes ago. Absolutely ridiculous, the stuff we remember. But yeah, anyway, so that's kits playing in our teams playing in the wrong kits. You say wrong kits, right? But sometimes clubs become synonymous with colours in away strips, don't they? Like, certain teams do we might do a twist on a red and white strip. Other teams might do, twists on a certain colour season after season. Like Newcastle will be green for the foreseeable future, I'm sure, in terms of away strips. But, like Sunderland, and I think Sunderland are very linked with blue kits now. You look at the success this season, it's based on that kit that we beat Newcastle in, of course, in that playoff semi-final way back when. So you've got clubs that get kind of, they get linked to certain colours for, and I'm going to say I used away kits twice there, apologies. Changed kit. But it's true. And actually, it gets to a point where fans actually go, well, I kind of don't mind because they see us in two colours. I think, do Rangers have a thing with white and like blue and for away kits? I can't remember. But there's
something to do with orange, I don't know.
Yeah, but there's certain clubs that have those links, isn't there?
No, they definitely are. And you make a good point as well about our kits, both this season and last season. Obviously, last season's was the homage to the 92 kit, wasn't it? Which, I mean, that's a slightly different case where you're harking back to a specific kit rather than, like, you would never say Sunderland are associated with white tops with green sleeves, Or if you did say that, I'd check you into the nearest NHS institution for a quick check over.
Can you imagine? Can you check this lad out? Why? What's wrong with him? He's made a mistake about a football top.
Yeah, he seems to be labouring under some sort of delusion about Sunderland and green sleeves. I don't really know. To be fair, it'd be me who gets committed at that point, I think. But where I originally started going with this was, I agree that those relationships do form between clubs and certain strips and colours, but it can never supersede the home kit. You know what I mean? No matter how much Sunderland are associated with blue, it's never going to be, the Blues are in town. It's going to be the Red and White Army. It's, and the same with, other clubs. Just look at when Vincent Tan tried to change the Cardiff colours.
Very true.
Oh, blimey, I wouldn't fancy being the next owner to try that in English football. I'll tell you that for free.
Oh, he's throwing a good one there right at the end, doesn't he, with that Vincent Tan one? But actually, talking about the white one that we reintroduced from the early 90s. I mean, I used to watch Sunderland in that white away strip in the early 90s, and I couldn't understand for the harking back to it because we were always crapping it. I mean, the amount of times we got stuffed in that white, and we got to and we of course got beat in the FA Cup final, which we wore dark shorts for that. Which I always liked that strip in dark shorts, weirdly enough. But anyway, Johnny threw a good one in, grenade in there right at the last second with the Vincent Tan thing. But we need to find out what that is going up against because we need Andrew's pick for the second round to see what's going against teams playing in different kits.
Yes, I mean, first of all, well played, Johnny. Another brilliant argument. And I mean, for the format point, Chris, really we need Johnny to win this round, so I might just throw in a daft one here. No, for me, if I may, I would like to see the back of the way offsides are currently implemented. Due to the nature of the decision being made, the close calls feel arbitrary, almost. Whether it's with VAR or not with VAR, you've got a linesman, or an assistant, who's got to somehow have one eye on when the ball's being played and also one eye across the pitch. They could be tens of meters apart. And VAR is even more complicated. You end up going frame by frame to determine if a player's offside. Yet nobody seems to remember that it's meant to be at the point the ball is hit. And due to technology, due to margins of error and limitations about pixel size, it's not accurate. It's not accurate. I've found a website here which backed up my points, and I'm going to take a couple of stats off there. And because this website backed up my points, I didn't bother looking at any others. So it'd be easy for you, Chris, to take this apart in a minute.
Yeah, just keep looking for stats until it backs your argument, and then just stop. Yeah, it's a good argument.
Well, that's how you sort every argument, isn't it?
That's how politicians do it.
Well, yeah. This is me doing an audition to get like a big job in high government. The website is the National Library of Medicine, which is an official site of the US government, which I thought sounded quite fancy. I mean, we all refer to the old National Library of Medicine in our daily lives. And the article was The Vision Science of Offside Calls by George Mather. So thank you, George. You've done me a golden one here. A golden one? A solid one. I dread to think what a golden one is. And maybe that should be in room 101. But that's
You're describing your toilet visits now, aren't you?
It should be me who's in room 101.
Golden one or a solid one?
Yeah, I should not. Me talking to anybody else is what I would like to go in room 101, please, lads. Anyway, offsides, man. This is a matter in hand. Yeah, due to problems with the pixel size and technology, blah, 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 the contact frame, on average, in VAR, is actually taken 10 milliseconds before the ball is touched, which sounds like nothing, but could actually lead to a difference of 5.6, and note down the 0.6, lads, because that's important, 5.6 centimeters difference in where the player is when the ball is and isn't touched. You've also got a thing called smearing, where the frame footage is spread over pixels, gives it a more blurrier image, and you're dealing then, lads, if you need to get yourselves away, I can see you both nodding off there.
I'm just thinking about smearing, to be honest.
That's another one for the.
I think there's a test for that, actually.
Aye. But basically, images can be out by anything as much as 10 centimeters. So these really close calls, which are agonized over for minutes and minutes and minutes, there's a margin of error in the facilities being used. So how that is clear and obvious, I don't know. I would just much rather to more keep in spirit with the game, just change it to something like there needs to be a daylight rule. Because at the moment we are arguing the toss over these black and white close calls that are like kind of a hair's breadth, but the technology or the person running the line doesn't have the capability of being 100% accurate.
Okay, Andrew, let's go with the daylight rule. Yeah? Mm-hmm, let's go. Mm-hmm. How much daylight?
Whatever favours Sunderland in that moment in time. Yeah, that's a fair point. The rule
what if there's 2 pixels of daylight on the screen?
I'm going to jump in actually and defend Andrew here because I feel quite strongly about this one. The whole point of the daylight rule, or don't call it daylight because people get in a tiz about it, right? Make the line, instead of being on the line of the defender, make the line be sort of on the back of the attacker, right? So if the back of the attacker, whatever the furthest away point from the goal of the attacker, so probably the heel, make that the line, and if that's beyond the defender, then if you argue in a margin of a centimetre either way, well, it doesn't matter because either way, they've had an advantage over the defender because they're still half a body past them. Do you know what I mean? Like that's the nuance I think that gets missed is, yes, you're still going to have marginal calls. Yes, you're still going to have ones where there's smearing involved and all sorts of different things. But at the moment, if you're just the wrong side of that margin, you've not gained an advantage. But if most of your body's the wrong side of that margin, you have gained an advantage.
But what does it really matter in terms of, because there's still none of this will change how controversial it is, because you're still going to get decisions on that are fractions. I mean, again, going back to pixels and going back to drawing the line, very, very quickly, because remember, this has to be done very, very quickly because people complain about how long it takes. And people have to draw the line and make sure it, and sometimes zoom right in and all this sort of stuff. That you're saying, right, well, we'll do it a slightly different way. But even if it's a few pixels offside, people are going to still say, oh, well, that was only that's only a centimetre offside. Why are they given like that? It should be clearer. It won't change how controversial it is, surely.
It won't, but it'll change the amount of times we have these controversial discussions. Again, I feel as if I should just sit back and let Jonny speak on my behalf because he's actually putting it across better than I was. The word
just
nuance.
Repaying the favour, mate.
The word nuance. I thought, well, if I just thought of that at the start of me topic, I would have been fine. The football, at the end of the day, we want to be entertained. We'd like to see goals. I appreciate you don't want people goal hanging, which is a nice callback to school dinners because that was always the row in the schoolyard after your pink custard and your meringue that somebody was goal hanging. He's not happy about that either.
Shiver down my spine.
So I understand why offside is there, and there will always be that fine line between are you onside, are you offside? But by introducing something, and Johnny's quite right, daylight maybe is the incorrect term, but by just giving a little bit more flexibility, you're letting the game flow a lot better. It's certainly going to be easier for linesmen, assistant referees on games where there isn't VAR, I would imagine.
But how will it make their life easier? Because they're still looking for those fine margins and the game is so quick, they've got to try and look in two places at once regardless. And even if you say, well, let's draw the line here, let's change what offside actually is in terms of, is it a tiny bit of a body part being on one side of it, or is it the whole body, or is it daylight or whatever? You're still talking about fractions. And again, you're still going to get mistakes. You're never going to rule that out. And I don't see how the position of being offside changes things.
I retract my last point, if I may.
No, whoa. Don't back down here, because you've nearly got him. You've nearly got him, right? No, what it is...
Johnny, you're on the other side of the argument.
No, that's right. So it's opposite day, okay? It's opposite day, so everything I say, take it as an attack on Andrew, but he's completely right. Because the point where the decision is made is shifted further in favour of the attacker, the current discourse is, well, he's offside by 0.1 centimetres. What advantage is he gained from that? If the starting point for the decision is moved more in favour of the attacker, we'll see more goals, which is one of the complaints about these offsides. We'll see it, and even the tight decisions. It's very different when it's your toenails overhanging the defender versus, he might have been, it's marginal because if you look at the last centimetre of the back of his foot, that might still be aligned with the defender. Either way there, he's gained an advantage.
Well, Johnny, I'm really not happy with you because we've had this conversation before. You like me, were a defender back in the day. We're part of the defenders union, and now you're trying to give the advantage to the attacker. What's going on there?
Sunderland are good, so I want to see goals go in instead of goals get stopped.
It's not clear and obvious at the moment. which is the phrase always used about VAR. We are wasting minute upon minute on these tight calls, but it's all a bit false because we are using equipment that can't allow us to be that accurate.
But let me put this to you, Andrew. We're using the equipment and technology that is the most accurate. It's never going to be 100%, but it's the best we've got. Now, surely that's what you go with to make the decisions, but say, look, it's not completely foolproof. It's not completely, we're not going to nail it, because at the end of the day, the lines are drawn by organic squidgy bits that control these mechanics, and they draw the lines and they pick the point that they stop the game, stop the frame when the ball is played. Sometimes it's been proven that's been wrong. But so it's not that, I would argue that it's not the implementation that you're saying, well, it's the implementation of it, it's maybe the rules. But I'd say you will always get controversial decisions, because at the end of the day, it's humans who are interpreting the rules.
Yes, you will always get controversial incidents. I just think by making it a little bit more on the side of an attacker and a little bit easier to tell with the naked eye, you're reducing those incidents. You're right. There's no solution is perfect. No solution is perfect. I just think the way football's meant to be a rushed game and exciting, entertaining game. And why are we all sat there in a stadium for 5 minutes poring over freeze frames?
Can I make the argument that potentially, when you see a goal sometimes and it goes in and you're excited, but then there's a hint of offside. Let's say you're watching a game as a neutral and there's a hint of offside.
Oh God, that's exciting.
Doesn't that add that a bit of excitement where you think, I think that might be offside there?
And also, by the way, I know it's gone for us a lot, but we've had some tight, like Isidore against Brentford springs straight to my mind. In the ground, immediately, I turned to my dad and went, I wouldn't celebrate that much just yet. That could be off.
The Brentford's goal as well.
Yeah, but when it goes for you, you get to celebrate twice.
Yeah.
Robbie against Arsenal, you go up mental for a last-minute goal, and then you're like, there's a VAR check, and then, he's given it again. Get in. We've actually scored. Like, you get 2 goals.
And don't tell me, Andrew, you didn't celebrate when Sheffield United's goal was ruled out at Wembley.
I genuinely, and I think she's not in the house because she's gone on a coach trip with university. I would have got my daughter in to vouch for me. I said offside. As soon as it went in the net, I said, that's offside, that. So I called it with the naked eye. So,
I will put it in terms of the interpretation. And again, the argument of, human, errors, if you like. Recently, you had the Man City-Liverpool game where Robertson ducked under the ball and it was still given as offside. But then you had Gatuda at Chelsea for us, who was in an offside position, and there was an argument there, similar argument of Robertson. And I would argue that, and there was another one as well over the weekend, very, very similar, and I can't remember which one it was, but there's been a few of those lately where players have been deemed to either be interfering with play or not interfering with play. And this is the problem with, and again, we've seen it with officials in Premier League games across this season, that it's so inconsistent for the same thing. And I think rather than change the rules, I think that's the problem.
Well, certainly that is an aspect of offside that could also do with tightening up, in my opinion. I don't disagree with you on that at all. I just would like to see, well, in fact, I'd like to see a lot of things about offside altered because there's so many grey areas. I had a really good point to make, and I'm annoyed because it has slipped my mind. Can we pause for a few minutes, lads, while I try and...
Well, I'll tell you what.
Yes, that was it. No, go on, Chris, you say your thing, and then...
I'll tell you what, that's a good time for us to take a break. We'll be back after these ads.
This episode is brought to you by Nespresso. Gift magical mornings with Nespresso Virtuo Pop. Compact and stylish, Virtuo Pop is made to meet every morning coffee craving. From espresso to coffee, hot or iced, at the click of a button. And celebrate the season with Nespresso's limited edition coffee flavors. Sweet almond and hibiscus, cinnamon and candied tamarind, and festive double espresso.
Magic in the making. Shop the holiday gift collection exclusively at Nespresso.com.
This episode is brought to you by LinkedIn. Healthcare professionals can lead their careers with LinkedIn. Discover jobs by specialty, preferred shifts, and even desired salary. From mental health therapists to radiology technicians, it's now faster and easier for healthcare professionals to find the right fit. Learn more at linkedin.com/healthcare. Side effects may include faster job placement, improved work-life balance, and increased career satisfaction.
Meet the computer you can talk to. With Copilot on Windows, working, creating, and collaborating is as easy as talking. Got writer's block? Share your screen with Copilot Vision to help spark inspiration, and use Copilot Voice to have a conversation and brainstorm ideas. Or maybe you need some tech help. With Copilot Vision, Copilot sees what you see. Let Copilot talk you through step-by-step guidance so you can master new apps, games, and skills faster. Try now at windows.com/Copilot.
And welcome back to How We're the podcast. And let's see if Andrew's remembered his thought or completely forgot it.
I hope those adverts were something like memory pills or some sort of, something along those lines. You mentioned there, it's great for a neutral. I couldn't give a flip about neutrals. Johnny was talking earlier, there was so much passion about these games being played away from the home stadiums and that. We've got to be careful not to reject people who go to games or support that team that is playing. There is too much emphasis on people sitting down watching the big game between Man United and Liverpool and all of that. I don't care. I don't care about them. I want my experience watching Sunderland to be good, and I want offsides to be done quickly, and I want to know that decisions are being made as best as possible. And if that means some neutral doesn't get to enjoy his Sunday dinner in the pub watching some team that has no bearing on the lads, tough luck.
He's done us there. I'll be honest, he has done us.
Because one of the other things I was going to raise, and again, Johnny, as you mentioned, you played in defence back in the day, the interfering with play thing, I always could never understand as a defender, because I'm like, if there's a striker standing 5 yards offside behind me as a defender, he's interfering with play, because I'm positioning myself based on where he is, and I don't understand.
Was it Clough who said, when you cross the white line, you're always interfering with play?
Yeah,
and if you're
exactly.
not, what the hell are you doing on the pitch?
100%,
Like,
100%.
Yeah, no, I agree. The thing is, with what Andrew said, I fully agree with about half of it. And the other half, I'm like, I agree with the spirit, but it's an impossible problem to solve almost, isn't it? Like, offsides in general are and I think you said, didn't you, Crystal, even when it was just human assistant referees, you just can't look at in both places at once. It's not possible. And then obviously all the limitation with the technology. The only final point I want to make to put some semblance of resistance up to Andrew is all the stuff about the margins for error and the different flaws in the technology are very valid, but it's the same technology that's used everywhere. So it's not like Man City have got the most advanced one, which has the most accurate offsides, and, Wolves have got some sort of, or whoever have got some sort of inferior system. I understand the whole humans drawing the lines stuff, but just in terms of the camera qualities and the pixels and that sort of stuff, and the potential delay between how far a player could move between the ball being kicked and that, at least it's consistent between games. That is the only thing you can say in its defence, I think.
Yep, and it is decision time, and purely because Johnny's last statement, he said it is impossible to get it absolutely bang on, and I do believe that that it will never be perfect, and whatever system we get, there will always be controversial decisions. People will always argue the toss about whether it's a centimetre offside, it's somebody's finger offside, even if there's daylight, how much daylight, all of that sort of stuff. And the fact that, Andrew, used an article from the United States to try and convince me that offside has not been implemented correctly. Means he misses out on this one. So Johnny's pick that teams playing in different kits when they don't have to goes into room 101.
So when Sunderland are playing our, Charity Shield final abroad, at least we're going to be in red and white, lads.
And we'll be losing it because of a tight offside call against us.
And by the way, Johnny, we won't, because the commercial output on playing an away strip to sell some more away kits will just be too lucrative. So we'll be in an hour away kit. So anyway, let's get on to round 3. It's all on this one. And again, we're going to go to Johnny with your pick for round 3.
So this is obviously the most important one, the absolute life or death matter of football here. Pre-match lineup graphics being done in anything that is not position order. Oh my God, you could power the sun from how annoyed this makes me. Come sort of 1:45 to 2 p.m. on any given Saturday, flicking through Twitter. Oh my God. So I've seen different variations, and there are some that are probably more esoteric than others, I would say. So the way it should be done, and I think everybody has an intuitive understanding of this. You see the lineup, it should be keeper, back 4 or back 5, midfield 4 or midfield 3, front 2 or front 3, or 1, whatever. You go keeper, defenders, midfielders, forwards. Now, I understand this has changed a bit. Back in the day, you'd expect it to be a back 4, then your 4 across midfield, then your 2 strikers. These days, wingers tend to be included in the front 3. That's all fine. This is all part of the rich tapestry of football. What's not part of the rich tapestry is abominations like doing them in squad number order, but not even doing that right, because if the keeper's not number 1, he still goes at the top. So you've got number 31, and then 2, 3, 4, 7, 12, 25. Oh my God! I'm sorry, Andrew. I say Andrew taking his headset off because of my.
You've damaged me speakers, man, Johnny.
Well, I damage walls and door frames in my house usually when I'm reading these lineups. But yeah, keeper first, then ascending number order. Get that chucked straight into the bin. Even worse, alphabetical order lineups. I'm genuinely speechless, and as the listeners will know, I am not a man who is speechless very often. I've usually got, if anything, too much to say. What are we doing, guys? What are we doing? Why would you want the graphic to show less information to the fans? It's worse in every way. It's uglier. It winds people up, and you get less information. And you're not trying to tell me seriously that you think Pep Guardiola's sat in the dressing room at the Etihad, feverishly refreshing his Twitter so we can see, oh God, I wonder what shape Sunderland are in today. Oh, God, I better find out. He knows the team sheet as well, lads. They actually tell him too. So what are you doing?
Well, as we've established on lots of these pods, I'm bordering on an old fella, Johnny. As Bob Mortimer put it, was it a fading fingerprint on an abandoned
fingerprints on an abandoned handrail? Yeah.
That's me at the moment. But I go back to when teams were announced. Now, back then, it wasn't even for debate. It was 4-4-2. So you went keeper, you went right back, centre back, left back, right midfielder, centre midfielder, left midfielder, striker. Now, I don't know what game it was. I've got an inkling it might have been the first Championship manager in the early 90s that switched it to left being first and then right. And then people then started putting the left back first rather than the right back, which I tell you what caused a whole storm in a teacup back then. But now, Johnny, how do you sometimes, right? We'll see the list of players. And you'll know in our chat that as soon as the team sheet comes out, the debate then kicks off. What is he playing? Is it a back 5? Is it a back 4? Is it 3 up front? Is it 1 up front? Is it 2 up front? If Mayenda and Isidore were in the team last season, is Mayenda wide? Is he up front? So how do you do it?
I make an acceptable sort of
caveat.
Yeah, but it's not so much a caveat, but just I find it acceptable that there are ambiguous 11s. But if that's just because somebody like a Mayenda and Isidore, they could just as easily be in a front two as both be part of a front three, and it just depends who else is around them, that's fine. Because then the manager still, well, I'm saying the manager, I don't think Reggie's the one editing the editing the line of graphics pre-match, but as long as you've still put them in what would be the right order for how they shape up, go for it. Ambiguity is okay. What is not okay is eschewing tradition, Chris.
So you're saying it's okay if they get it wrong? Ooh.
Now, that's, yeah. I think it's much less acceptable for an official club announcement to be wrong about it than it is for a different outlet, let's say.
Wow.
So, for example, on the BBC...
They're not going to ask the manager, are they?
No, but they should know, shouldn't they? So, for example, the lineup we put out...
the young lad who does the graphics should know what formation we're playing.
Well, I mean, he should know things about Sunderland, shouldn't he? You know, if he sees...
even we're guessing. We know lots about Sunderland, but even we're guessing.
Yeah, we can go and ask Reggie, can't he? No, but like I said, there's scope for honest mistakes. So a player who could reasonably play centre-back or in midfield, maybe you get them wrong. But you've still tried to put them in the right place. You just weren't right about what that place is. That's acceptable. If you haven't even tried and you've just gone, oh, why, we're not sure, so just whack it in number order, but put the keeper at the top for some bizarre reason, then I can't help you.
Right. Interesting. Andrew, I mean, you know, again, I don't want to call you out, but you are like me, where you remember the team lineups coming up and you could just read it as a 4-4-2. I mean, has Johnny got a point?
Well, he used the word esoteric, so he must be talking some level of sense, because
Johnny wins.
Yeah. And I really wish we could put out some of the footage, because the faces there Johnny's been contorting himself into are brilliant.
He's fuming.
I'm actually sweating a bit here.
The scariest bit wasn't when he was like shouting down my ear there and I'm having to turn the volume down. It's when he went calm. He looked calm for a couple of seconds and I thought,
it was all in the eyes, wasn't it?
It was a worry.
It was. Aye.
Oh, very good. Yes.
All right, Kelvin.
I remember when it was literally just 1 to 11, and it was just like, you know.
Well, do we not blame the captions? Is the real problem squad numbers?
Well, yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, actually, because that is, well, I'm saying glad. I suppose that could be the death knell for my argument, but I completely agree that part of the reason this has become such a problem is, back in the day, you put it in number order, it's already in position order. You're sorted, you're absolutely fine. Whereas now you've got, you know, number 27 playing right back, and you've got number, 14 at left back, and you've got a number 5 and a number 25 at centre back, and all the rest of it.
We've had a 99 somewhere as well, isn't there? There's someone with 99.
And I can't remember who it was, but somebody for Inter Milan wanted the number 9, couldn't get it, so had 18 and put a plus in the middle. Which
was that? I want to say, was that Zamorano or something like that?
I think it was. Yeah, that rings a bell. So yes, I do agree that the more liberal use of squad numbers in the modern game has not helped this particular conundrum. But I still say that the first and foremost, the blame needs to be apportioned to these underpaid, overworked social media interns who are knocking the graphics up. Because I don't care what the squad numbers are, lads. You know, Lucherel Getrauda's not a striker, yeah? And I'm saying all this, by the way, we don't do it. We do it right. But Man United do it wrong. You know, Liverpool do it wrong. The big clubs, especially, a big culprit to this. You know full well Connor Bradley's a right back. So what are you doing sticking him in the top 3 of the lineup? Can we all just get a grip and come back to sanity and reality together and inhabit the same shared space for once?
Going back to squad numbers, Andrew, I remember when they first came in being quite excited about it. But when you think about it, it was purely a vehicle to put players' names on their shirts, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah, of course. It's like virtually anything that we'll propose to put in room 101. What is the root cause of it? Money. You know, somebody will have worked out squad numbers and names on the back of shirts. We can sell a few letters in the club shop or what have you.
I'll be interested to see how you you shoehorn money into your next pick, by the way, when we come on to that. But anyway, squad numbers being the being the part of it. But it's funny if you had 1 to 11 now, it wouldn't really work because they used to match up, didn't they? You used to go, right, well, number 2, I know where he's playing. I think until the first manager I ever knew to play around with it was Peter Reid. When he liked, I think he had Derek Ferguson number 5. He liked him as number 5, and I think he liked David Kelly as number 5 when he came to the club and played up front, which was really weird, Andrew. But yeah, like the 1 to 11 wouldn't work now, would it?
Which is ridiculous because you think about it, and now we actually describe player roles by referring to shirt numbers that they don't wear. You've got a 6 and an 8 and a 10 in midfield. You've got a 9 up front.
But you know what it was? The 6 and the 8 was never what they say it is now.
Well, yeah. So
he plays like a 6. I'm going, well, back in the day, a 6 might have been a centre half because a 4 was a centre midfielder, and the centre midfielder got up and down. He wasn't
Hang on, let's not do the 6 versus 4 centre mid or centre back debate. We've not got another 2 hours to get into that one.
When I was a centre half, I would always went 5 or 6. I never wanted 4. Oh, 5 was always the first pick. But I would never have 4 as a centre half. I always thought that was a centre midfielder.
Chris, can I just say, I don't remember Nick Hancock going off on one like this.
Oh, I bet he did.
It's me and Johnny who were meant to be losing our rags.
Well, he never. Somebody never brought up the topic of squad numbers, but people describing back in the day, people saying, "Oh, he's now a 10." When did 10 become an attacking midfielder?
As we all know, 10 is the big man in a big man little man partnership.
Yeah.
Nine's the finisher, 10's the creator, 11's your left winger, 7's your right winger.
Well, you say that, but Marco was always number 10 for us, and he was always the one who finished them off and scored the goals. And
yeah, so somebody should have been crucified for that at the time. I mean, the equivalent of how the podcast back in Marco's day should have been all over him.
Yeah, but anyway, it got me riled up. But the thing is, Johnny, I'm getting riled up about things that were maybe were maybe the cause of what you're talking about.
Yeah, I do agree, but I still think the symptom of those causes being these ridiculous bastardized lineups need to be eliminated. You know, it's and just to give one final tiny point, the actual slightly behind the excited persona reason that really annoys us, it's the dumbing down of giving information. It really gets to us. You see it everywhere, particularly in, social media type content that's being given out. It's like, so you used to look at a lineup graphic and you could see who was playing where. You look at a lineup graphic now, unless you know the team intimately, you don't know. Why have we sacrificed information? What benefit? Who's it helping?
I've never heard the words dumbing down and social media in the same sentence before, Johnny. That's a first. That's a first for me. But can I just ask you one question about why, just very quickly, why it annoys? Does it annoy you because you've got to work it out?
It's partly that, but it's that because they would already know better than me. So they're making the person who. So I'm talking less about when it's your own club, and more like you particularly say it's a match day. You look at the opposition team sheet. I don't necessarily know every member of every squad. I mean, it's different now in the Premier League because you do know more players just through more exposure. But I tell you who does know more about Burnley than me. Burnley's admin knows more about Burnley than me. So why am I doing the bloody legwork? So this is my room 101 is me being lazy.
Right. Before Johnny causes pain on our listeners, I think we should probably move on to Andrew's pick that's going to go up against lineup graphics, mainly on social media, but lineup graphics in general. And Andrew, what's going up against it?
Well, first of all, I would like to apologise to the poor lad doing works experience for Burnley's socials last weekend. He's probably dead pleased with himself. Like, oh, look, Mom, Dad, look what I've done.
Look at the font I picked for that game.
Yeah. No, not good enough for Johnny. Right. I'm going to have to get something else off my chest before I go into my room 101. You know what I mentioned earlier about it should be me in room 101? This has got nothing to do with football, but I feel if I don't say this, I will carry it for a long time. Shortly before we started recording, gents, I bumped into an old colleague who I used to really get on with. There was a group of us, we used to socialise, you know, I knew her kids, I knew everything about her. But when you bump into somebody out of context and your brain freezes. So, you know, like when Chris says he's in the aisles at the supermarket and he can't remember what he's meant to be buying for tea. So there's all of this. I'm feeling awkward. I somehow muddle my way through the conversation. And what I want to end it with is something like, you know, something nice like, oh, good to see you, or you're looking well, all the best. What came out was, anyway, you look good, bye now, and just walked off. So this woman's thinking, right, so Andrew's a perv now. I didn't realise that. I'll not see her for 5 or 10 years now. So please, when you're done with this episode, just give me the keys to room 101. I'm going to lock myself in there because I cannot be trusted in public. Anyway, Gobshites at the match. That's my actual point to go against Jonny. I get the passion, I get the nerves, I get people groaning if something goes wrong, but just the way some people channel things at the match, it's no good for the team, and it's no good for somebody who is clearly socially awkward, as I've just displayed. My last seat at the stadium, we used to sit next to a woman who had a shirt with Jack Clark's name and number on the back. Now, Jack Clark's squad number, as it happens, not his formational number. I can't remember where he was shown on the graphics. So she obviously loved Jack Clark, and she used to always shout, "Go on, Clarky, go on, son," until he made a mistake. And then she'd start calling him every name under the sun. And we are talking Champions League swear words, like, you know, the F's and the C's and everything. And just, I don't know why. You get absolute clips of people, and I am aware of the irony as I say all of this, who were shouting criticism at like honed, top-level elite athletes, shouting out ridiculous tactics and bits of advice, which are always the opposite of what the player should be doing. It does me head in. I love Sunderland. I want to support Sunderland players. Why am I hearing other Sunderland fans being more negative than the away fans would be? And just, yeah, the tactical insights. Just go tackle him, slide tackle him. What? What are you on about? Slide tackle somebody who's 10 meters away from you. Just or complaining that the goalkeeper has let the ball go past him. Oh, you shouldn't get beat by that shot. What? That shot that was 100 miles per hour through like an absolute forest of legs? Or what's he done that for? That's another one that gets shouted. What's he done that for? Well, if it's a misplaced pass, he hasn't done it on purpose. It's an error. I'm going to say something now, which is good. Go on, Chris. Go on. Stop me before I say something.
Keep going.
Yeah. I honestly think you should have to show some sort of credentials before you get into the ground. Or, at the very least, there should be a little five-a-side court outside the turnstiles. And you have to do 10 minutes. You don't have to be good at football, but you have to at least show that you know what you should be trying to do and what you should be trying to say. And whilst I'm at it, if you're gonna criticize the team and then leave early, what's that about? That's mental. I'm annoyed you're there in the first place. I'm then annoyed that you've left, which doesn't make sense. And the other thing, whilst I'm at it, I don't care how your act is going. I don't care that Liverpool have gone 1-0 up. I don't need to know where you're going afterwards for a drink. Just watch the game, support Sunderland, and when we score, celebrate it. Don't let your first thing be to turn and flick the V's at the away fans and do the gestures to the away fans. Particularly, and this is my last point, particularly not when I know for a fact one of the people near me who does it works at a college. He is a tutor. He is responsible for guiding our youth to become productive members of society. And he spends his Saturday afternoons flicking the V's at away fans when Sunderland score. So just please, let's behave with a bit more, just have a bit more about you when you're at the match, and let's behave with a bit of, a bit of sense, please.
Wow.
I might have to concede this one immediately.
Yeah.
That was some performance,
Wow.
Andrew.
Wow. I mean, Andrew, if you can just give us your row and seat number so everyone around you could know exactly where you sit. But can you, Andrew, I mean, before giving everyone, making sure everyone's got their membership card to Mensa before they get into the stadium or like, can you,
That is not what I said. That is not what I said.
Where do you want the line drawn? What constitutes someone who's shouting and someone who's a gobshite?
As I say, I'm aware of the irony whilst I talk through all of this. We're Sunderland supporters, we're Sunderland fans. We should be there making as much noise as possible. And like I say, not everything will go to plan. I understand the frustration and the groans, but in what world do you possibly think that you standing up and shouting at the left back to tuck in 10 yards, for example, is in any way better than the instructions he's performing, having been told to do them by the head coach, Regis Lebris?
Yeah, but I'll give you an example, because I'm asking for kind of a definition. You've given me an example of what people do, because I'll tell a little story about a really crap story. But I remember when watching the game one time when I was just after half time, because as I do, I like a pie at half time, and then the game kicked off and I was eating this pie and everyone else was on their feet singing chanting a song. And I got wrong from a fella because I was stood there eating my pie and not chanting. And then later on in the game, there was an opposition player at the back post, and I was the only one screaming as loud as I could. He's at the mark him, nobody's got him, and he ended up scoring a goal. And this fella told me to shut up. So he told me to be loud when he wanted me to be loud, and he told me to shut up when I was being loud. So, was I a gobshite in that instance?
Of course not, Chris. You've never been a gobshite. And remember that when you decide in this final round. No, there's productive comments. There's being productive and there's being engaged in the game. And then there's just spouting absolute bollocks. And there is just too much of that.
There was an old fella as well back in the day. I haven't seen him for a long time, but back in the day, I used to sit with this old fella but he genuinely didn't do it to be funny. But during a game, you were talking about shouting at players to do something or something like that. He used to be a very old school, and when he wanted Sunderland to get stuck in, when Sunderland players were putting pressure on the opposition, he would always build up in this. He would always say, get a foot in, tackle him. And then he'd start building up, going, get him, scratch him, bite him. And he would just kind of build up to kind of viciousness, really. And all the crowd around us would end up laughing at the levels he went to, because he would ask us Sunderland players to bite the opposition or scratch them or pull their eyes out or whatever he wanted them to do, which was quite funny. But does he come into that bracket? Because you've got this blurry line between, as you describe it, gobshite people who, and it might be just generally people who annoy you, Andrew, which I imagine that list of people is growing as we get older, because I'm the same in that.
I'm so intolerant, it's unreal.
Yeah. Absolutely. But where's the line between being funny and just being annoying?
Perhaps the level of unnecessary swear words. You can tell just by if somebody's calling everybody an F and C. That's very different. At least your pal that you're talking about there is at least being supportive and wanting Sunderland to do well. it's some of these comments you think, just what do you think you're achieving by making these comments? But you're right, the line is very blurry, and the only way I can see of us doing this fairly is I sign off whether you're allowed to speak or not at the match. You know, if you're pro Sunderland and you want Sunderland to do well, I'll allow you to make the odd slip. I'm very gracious like that. But if you're just there slagging the players off or like shouting, the one last season, within 2 minutes, you just started slowly, you're crap, launch it. Did nobody notice last season that the tactic was to launch it only when it was right to do so, and maybe it might be all right to just keep possession for a few minutes? That might be what we're trying to do.
Is it not? Can we mistake in this for people who aren't, who don't know the game inside out, but love going to the game, and it's just a way of showing passion?
Yeah, and hey, listen, I'm not an expert. I don't think I know everything. But if I don't know something, I'll not shout it. You've seen a fella at the back post unmarked. There's a very clear issue there that needs to be dealt with. You're not.
The players didn't listen to me, by the way.
Aye.
and rightly so.
You're not then going to stand up and shout and call somebody a foul word because they're playing in a back four when you think it should be a back five. Just we are there to support the team and back them and make it horrible for the away fans. We are not there to 1 second be chanting "We love you, Sunderland," and then the next moment be standing up, shouting so much that you rain and spit on the poor person sat in the row in front of you, calling somebody, questioning their parentage or whatever.
Yeah. Well, it's very strange, Andrew, because on the topic of Gobshites, Jonny has been uncharacteristically quiet on it.
I was flicking the V's at Arsenal both times we scored. I will be completely honest. But
there you go. Jonny goes into room 101.
Yeah, I'm not giving away my row and seat number 8, because everyone around us will just write in and be like, yeah, he's a massive gobshite every game, so get him straight in the bin. But what I will say is, I do agree there's a big difference between. Obviously, I'm going to say I think I'm the right side of the line, but the aggression is channeled towards the opposition. You want to make it a tough place for them to come. You want them to feel under pressure. You want the opposition fans to feel like they're up against it even as well. That's all, in my view, that's all fine. So whatever it is, chance at the opposition, winding them up, flicking the V's, doing what you want. I remember being in Old Trafford once on an away day. We got beat 3-0, obviously. But me and my mate managed to get a Man United fan kicked out because we wound him up that much by just, giving him little waves and just come and see us, a little bit of that during the game. And seeing him get escorted out by a steward was like top 3 experiences of going to football. But at a home game, I think there is a line. And if you express your frustrations, either just generally we miss a chance and it's for F's sake, man, that's just frustration. If we miss a chance and it's, why is it, man, you donkey, or, whoever it is, that's that. I do totally agree with Andrew. That's the line for me, I think. When it becomes personal abuse of our players, or just any abuse of our players, really, but particularly personal stuff, you are like, what are you doing here? Why have you spent money on a ticket and travel? And why don't you sit at home and just whinge in your living room or your bedroom? You'd be doing everyone a favour. But I do still think there's room for a bit of gobshitery at the match.
Yeah, I am talking tongue-in-cheek, and I am the king of the gobshite. but just, yeah, you've nailed my points better than I could. It's when it turns into utter useless advice or criticism or name-calling of somebody who's wearing the badge on their shirt that you've got tattooed on your body. You're meant to love these people and want them to be successful.
Right. Well, I think it's time to find out in round 3 what goes into room 101. And Jonny, I'm very, very sorry, but yeah, lineup graphics will not go into room 101. I'm just thinking, I'm just thinking, I think Andrew made the point. I mean, just think of those poorly paid kind of media interns who are doing these graphics and thinking it looks so good. And you're telling them off because they're not second guessing what formation the manager's doing. And if he gets it wrong, the whole of social media is going to be on his back because he put 5 at the back instead of 4 at the back. And he fooled everybody. And everyone thinks this little intern spoke in the register and got the inside information. And actually, he's not. He's just guessing because Johnny told him to. And I do think the real reason was actual squad numbers. It's
a fair cop. It's a fair cop.
Yeah. And Andrew, unfortunately, I can't put Gobshites into room 101 either, because I do think that we are just getting old, Andrew, and that more people annoy us. And if we put all of those people into room 101, there'd be about 5,000 people in the Stadium of Light.
I was just going to say, I hope you're happy keeping shit lineup graphics and having empty stadiums every week, because that's what you're after.
Yeah. Andrew, there'd be nobody left if we put Gobshites in the room 101.
Fair enough. I'm really pleased I didn't start doing me Fabio Barini celebration when you were summing up Johnny. I would have looked at right.
I've never been so gutted this isn't a video pod as when Andrew told that story before he gave this last one. The intensity with which he delivered that. So you're looking good directly into the camera. Oh.
Yeah. I mean, I really did need to say, because I'll not see her again for years now, so this will play on my mind for years. I had to get it. I had to get that off my chest. And to be honest, Chris, I've got no problems with your final decision, because at least I've had a bit of therapy and moved on from that horrific interaction earlier on today.
Well, that's it. I did think about how much it would upset you based on your big build-up with your story on bumping into people and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, like I said, unfortunately, and the list grows greater every year we go on of how people annoy us and all this sort of stuff. So, like I said, there'd be nobody left, and we'd be putting ourselves in there, and we can't be ending the episode with putting ourselves in room 101, Andrew.
I fully accept I am the worst of the lot, but yeah, no problem with that. Although, yeah, now I say it, if I was in room 101 all day, every day with all of these people, I would lose it. So, yeah.
Brilliant. That's a perfect place to end on. All square. Well done, gentlemen. Good arguments all round. So just leaves me to say, Johnny, thank you very much. That was really good fun, mate.
Yeah, thanks. That was really good. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, and thanks very much, Andrew. It was lighter than the part 1, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, I mean, it is hard to get you to decide whether the death of migrant workers is a good or a bad thing. No, brilliant fun. Chris, you did a really good job of probing us, and the amount of times I was flipping backwards and forwards when you're asking us questions. Johnny argued it really well. All I would say is, if anybody agrees with my picks, I'd love to hear from you. If you don't agree with me, keep it to yourself.
Gobshites, eh? But yeah, to be fair, I did need a shower after trying to argue for nation-state ownership in part 1, but I ended up putting it in, so I redeemed myself. But anyway, thank you very much, gentlemen. And thanks again, everyone, for listening. Of course, we'll be back with more podcasts leading up to Sunderland's next game, so look out on the Roker Report website for all of the build-up on there, and, of course, our daily releases on How We're the Podcast. But from us, it's bye for now.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
I earned my degree online at Arizona State University. I chose to get my degree at ASU because I knew that I'd get a quality education, they were recognized for excellence, and that I would be prepared for the workforce upon graduating. To be associated with ASU, both as a student and alum, it makes me extremely proud, and having experienced the program, I know now that I'm set up for success. Learn more at asuonline.asu.edu.